James, a lot of the value in a business, and most small business owners, a lot of their net worth is tied up in the value of their business. And the value of their business, a lot of times, the intellectual property, the client list, some of the trade secrets. I want to talk about how to protect that, the contracts, and how to enforce that both before, during, and after employment with associates where they could move on. Of course, they've developed relationships, they've learned trade secrets, they know the intellectual property. Talk about contracts, talk about preparation, and talk about ways to protect that.
Intellectual property to a business is so valuable, and it starts first with the way that you're recognized. Your logos, your taglines, your statement of identifying who you are that separates you. Most people think hard about what they're going to make that message be, and then they think very little about how they're going to legally protect it from others. And so you want to make sure that you register any trademarks and that you copyright any logos that you have so that you're affording yourself the maximum protection for the thing that you're using to generate value in your business.
And the process on doing that?
Very simple. Very simple. It requires simply the application process to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and then their approval back to you. It's usually fairly inexpensive to do that, and the wonderful thing about it is that when you register federally for protection of those intellectual properties, then you're getting nationwide coverage for that. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you decide to expand your business to another place or not. You know I'm protected in the United States because of my very basic steps in order to get filed and protected.
So I protected all that. Talk about the non-compete. How do I keep an employee, both contract and maybe even morally, maybe even a little bit less on paper and more just kind of relationally? What are some ways that I can protect my business, which is obviously in many cases just blue sky?
You want to think about three main things when you're dealing with a non-compete agreement. One, what's the geographical reach of this? How wide are we talking about? A 30-mile radius from your principal place of business, a state, a region? What's my geographical scope with respect to it? The other is, what's the duration of it? How long is this going to last? Some states, by statute, limit the amount of time that a non-compete can be enforceable. Other states haven't addressed that issue yet. You want to think about what does my state do in terms of that, or you want to think about what's a reasonable duration of the time. And then the last thing that you want to think about from a non-compete is what's the scope of it? What's it going to preclude them from doing? Things that are broad in scope will less likely be enforced by courts, while things that are more narrow and fit more specifically that employee's job are more likely to be enforced by courts.
And that's going to come down to the language of the contract.
It is.